Hello, welcome to Solving Watercolor. Today I'm going to be looking at one of the paintings that was sent to me by a newsletter subscriber called Elizabeth. I've been asking my newsletter subscribers to send in their work and tell me about any problems that they're having. So Elizabeth sent this painting in with just one word, help. Then she sent a follow-up email clarifying the problem a little bit more, saying, I'm afraid of the dark. Actually, what she said was, I'm afraid of using darks. Slightly different thing. Well, thanks Elizabeth for sending your work. Let's have a look now and see if I can help you. Let's talk about the positives. The whole painting has a quite charming quality. It reminds me of a stained glass window in many ways. And you've created an interesting stylistic effect that you could build on if you wanted to and develop it further. I like the choice of colours. The greens and blues are a very harmonious colour combination, and with the highlights of the red in there, that creates a nice complementary contrast that's visually interesting. And you've varied your greens very nicely as well, rather than just keeping them as one solid colour. One thing I noticed is that you've outlined a lot of the elements in your painting in black. I'm not sure if that's with an ink pen or with a brush, but that's actually rather a nice effect, and it's a completely legitimate technique, though I do wonder if maybe you did that because you felt you needed to make everything pop a little bit more because you didn't have enough of that contrast, those darks that you say you're afraid of adding. Now let's talk a little bit about the composition. The angle you chose to show the birdhouse from is from directly in front. And because we can't see the sides in this angle, it does create a rather flattening effect. But again, that could be a conscious choice. My instinct would be to just change the angle slightly to get more of a sense of the birdhouse as a 3D object. One tip that I'd like to pass on to you here is that when you're drawing your rough sketch, I'd recommend that if you have one object partly hidden by another, such as in this case the tree behind the birdhouse, just lightly draw the lines of the tree through the birdhouse in front so you can get a real sense of where the birdhouse is in relation to the tree trunk. Have a clear idea of where your light source is coming from, and then you can keep all your highlights and shadows consistent. I see that also that you've painstakingly painted around the leaves and tree branches, so maybe a part of the problem that you feel you have here is trying to give too much weight to every single detail. You can actually make things much easier for yourself by focusing on the main subject, in this case the birdhouse, and just letting the other elements be much more loose and abstract. I'd just like to show you a quick sketch in watercolor of how I would approach this painting. Now, don't feel that you should do this, it's just what I would do. Here's a photo that I found that's similar to your painting. Notice how the focal point of the painting is the birdhouse and the background is quite out of focus. That's not a bad thing to do in a painting also. Create a very loose, unfocused background, giving the impression of foliage without actually trying to paint any individual leaves. Now I'm going to use a 1/4 inch flat brush just for the birdhouse. The colour I'm using for the birdhouse is phthalo blue, which is a very strong, stunning colour, but pays to use it quite sparingly. Now I'm mixing up some ultramarine and burnt umber for the tree colour. I like to add a bit of ultramarine to just tone it down a bit from that chocolatey brown and make it more of a warm neutral. I'm leaving a few highlights here and there. And now I'm just using a touch of burnt sienna for the roof. Okay, now I've got the three big shapes painted, the tree, the birdhouse in the background. I'm just going to put in a few dark details to finish it off. Now, as I said, I'm not saying this is the right way to do it, it's just one approach that tries to simplify the subject as much as possible, and I hope you got some useful pointers from it. Thanks again for letting me have the chance to have a look at your work and offer you some suggestions. That's all I've got time for this week, but I'd like to invite you to come along to my website, solvingwatercolor.com, sign up for my free watercolor painting course there and become part of the Solving Watercolor community. I've also got lots of free tutorials on a whole variety of watercolor painting subjects. So I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now.